country's Bosnia and Herzegovina owes its rich historical heritage to its geographical position, which always represented a border of cultures between West and East. Land borders of states are almost always areas characterized by heterogeneity of the population, religion, and culture. The architecture of Bosnia and Herzegovina is largely influenced by four major periods where political and social changes determined the creation of distinct cultural and architectural habits of the region. Despite aggressions, wars, and invasions, Bosnia had achieved real prosperity during the High Middle Ages. The key to its wealth was mining: copper and silver at Kreševo and Fojnica, lead at Olovo, gold, silver, and lead at Zvornik, and above all, silver at Srebrenica. According to common thesis, stečci are an original Bosnian Herzegovinian cultural artistic medieval phenomenon. Tens of thousands of them scatter from the Adriatic to Sava, Una, and Drina rivers. The engraved symbols were highly regarded life values to the medieval Bosnian population. These engravings were accompanied by obituaries inscribed in Bosančica, unique script which was used in medieval Bosnia and Herzegovina, pretty similar to today's Cyrillic letters.
Descriptions of Sarajevo by visiting travelers portray it as one of the wonders of the Balkans, with fountains, bridges, schools, libraries, and mosques. Fine mosques were also built in towns such as Foča and Banja Luka. The cities of Sarajevo and Mostar, where such urban culture flourished, enjoyed a large degree of autonomy under elected officials. Sarajevo was officially founded in 1461 by the Ottomans, who ruled the city for around 400 years. Their lasting legacy is the neighborhood now known as Baščašća. In addition to the mosques, in Bosnia and Herzegovina, churches, synagogues, and clock towers were also built. These buildings testify to the policy of the Ottoman Empire in Bosnia and Herzegovina, which saw ways to gain support of the local population.
In 1878, after 400 plus years of Ottoman rule, Sarajevo became part of Austria-Hungary practically overnight. A completely new style of architecture being added to the city and country abroad. The old gymnasium, Gimnazija Mostara, is a great example of the Austrian-Hungarian architecture. The Austro-Hungarian Empire brought industry, better infrastructure, and new technology to Sarajevo, which became a sort of test ground for innovations before they were rolled out in Vienna. Thanks to this approach, Sarajevo became the first city in Europe to have a fully electrified tram system in 1885, which is still in use. At the end of World War II in 1945, Bosnia and Herzegovina became one of the 6 socialist republics within the Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. New thermal power plants were opened, and one of them was in Ugljevik. The newly built settlement becomes a representative example of state power, and the factory's chimney, 310 meters high, becomes the tallest building in Bosnia and Herzegovina, the 3rd in Yugoslavia, the 8th in Europe, and the 15th in the world. Yugoslav war monuments give Bosnia's rich past a modern era amendment, creating a landscape that tells the stories of sacrifice and valor. The siege of Sarajevo lasted from 5th April 1992 to 29th February 1996. The siege was the longest of a capital city in modern warfare. One of the most poignant reminders of the death toll of the siege can be seen at the Martyrs Cemetery in Kovači. Through the people buried there represent just a fraction of the thousands killed during the war, remembered with similar burials in multiple parts of Bosnia and Herzegovina. This month marks the 30th anniversary of the start of the Bosnian War, a long, complex, and ugly war that followed the fall of communism in Europe. 30 years later, we can still see scars on buildings left over from that war. Many of these buildings were systematically demolished by Serb forces in 1992-1993. Once upon a time, in land far, far away, there stood emerald peaks woven with crystalline rivers, hillsides decorated with stone villages, and canyons joined by lofty bridges arcing towards the heavens. This enchanting realm even had a suitably enchanting name, Bosnia and Herzegovina, as melodious as Narnia, Utopia, or Shangri-La, worlds that exist in the imagination, not on maps.